different points of view that you read in literature. So what is point of view? Point of view is the perspective that the author uses in order to get his or her message across to the readers. It's the way that the author lets the readers hear and see what is happening in the story. The author uses the narrator to tell the story, and the narrator is the voice of the story. There are three main points of view to consider: first person, second person, and third person point of view. Let's start with the beginning. First person point of view can often be identified by the use of personal pronouns I, me, my, and mine. In first person point of view, the narrator's viewpoint is limited to the character through which the story is being told. Such as I'm writing in a diary, it is in first person point of view, written in I. Such as, Dear Diary, today I went to the beach with friends. We had the best of times. Let us look at an example from literature. Here we have Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. In this story, Scout is the narrator. She says, remember it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. That was the only time I ever heard Atticus say it was a sin to do something, and I asked Miss Maudie about it. First person point of view is often seen as more reader-friendly, as the reader is experiencing the story from the perspective of the storyteller, usually a main character. The reader experiences what the character feels and sees as they do. It is a true-to-life perspective, or point of view. Next, we have second person point of view. Second person point of view is identified by the use of second person pronouns, you or your. This point of view is rarely used but draws the reader in by making them a part of the action. One simple example is of Dr. Seuss. Here he writes, the more that you read, the more things you will know, the more that you learn, the more places you'll go, and today you are you that is truer than true, there is no one alive that is youer than you. Notice how Dr. Seuss draws you, the reader, into the story by making you a part of the action. One popular example of second-person point of view done very well in literature is from Bright Lights, Big City. Things happen. People change is what Amanda said. For her, that covered it. You wanted an explanation and ending that would assign blame and dish up justice. You considered violence and you considered reconciliation. But what you are left with is a premonition of the way your life will fade behind you, like a book you have read too quickly, leaving a dwindling trail of images and emotions until all you can remember is a name. Notice how the author brings you, the reader, into the action. Next, there is third-person point of view. Third-person point of view is identified by the third-person pronouns he, she, they, and them. This point of view is from the outside looking in and is the most popular point of view used as it is often the easiest to write. There are two types of third-person point of view, omniscient and limited. Let's start with omniscient. In third-person omniscient, the narrator is not part of the story, but rather is all-knowing. The narrator tells the story from the viewpoint of seeing and hearing everything that goes on in the story with all the characters. Take these two examples from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. There was a lot more to magic, as Harry quickly found out, than waving your wand and saying a few funny words. Or, the Dursleys hadn't even remembered that today happened to be Harry's 12th birthday. Of course, his hopes hadn't been high. Notice how the narrator comments on Harry's viewpoint from an outside perspective. Next, there is third-person limited point of view. In third-person limited point of view, the narrator is again not a part of the story and has an all-knowing perspective, but the narrator only has knowledge of one character's actions, feelings, and thoughts, and is only telling the story from one perspective. Usually, this point of view is used when telling the story of the main character. Sometimes authors choose to tell the story from multiple different character perspectives throughout the story using third-person limited. Much like a camera pausing on one character at a time where we can see their actions and hear their thoughts. For example, in Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, the narrator knows what Montague is thinking and feeling but can only see from Montague's perspective when it comes to the other characters in the story. Montague walked to the kitchen and threw the book down. Montague, he said, you're really stupid. Where do we go from here? Do we turn the books in? Forget it. He opened the book to read over Mildred's laughter. Poor Millie, he thought. Poor Montague, it's mud to you too. But where do you get help? Where do you find a teacher this late? Notice how the narrator lets the reader into Montague's thoughts, but not Mildred's. It is because the author uses third-person limited point of view. Now that you have a better understanding of the points of view in literature, let's recap. The point of view is the perspective that the author uses to let the reader see and hear what is happening in the story. There are three main points of view used by the author: first person, second person, and third person point of view. First person point of view is indicated by the use of personal pronouns and is told through the eyes of only one character, often the main character. Second person point of view is rare but uses second person pronouns you and your and makes the reader a part of the action. Third person point of view uses third person pronouns he, she, they, and them and is broken into two categories: omniscient and limited. Omniscient is all-knowing. The narrator knows all the thoughts and actions of all the characters. Limited is also all-knowing, but is limited to just one character's perspective at a time. Now, hopefully, point of view should be clearer and more understandable to you.